Thank you guys for watching. I'm Hans and this is my channel. Today I'm going to be going over the PicoGear microphone. We're going to just do a quick breakdown of everything about it. I really like these things and I want to share with you all the cool features and everything that it comes with. So that is what we're going to do right now.
Let's go!
That thing went flying out of the case. Anyways, we're going to go ahead and do a review of this and do some sound tests. I'm wearing my super high-end microphones right now from Sony. So it's a TXRX Sony single microphone kit. I paid a lot of money for it, but I've had it for a really long time. So the comparison is only going to be from this to this. These things are about $800. These things are $449. The nice thing about these is you get two microphones with them. They magnetically stick inside of this little guy, and this charges your microphones for you. So as long as you remember to keep this thing charged, these will charge as well. This is one of my favorite things. It's just so simple. It has a 20-hour battery life constant, so you can be using it 20 hours before you have to worry about charging it back up. That is a long time. And I don't know if I'd want to sit and listen to somebody talk for 20 hours anyway, so I might just leave at that point. I'm going to try to do something a little different where I kind of go around the other side of the camera so we can really dive deep into this menu and really go in and see the different settings, how you can set it up, and more than anything, more than sound or anything else, this video is going to be about that. If you do want to hear the sound comparison between this microphone and this microphone, go to the very end of the video because that's where we'll do that. Okay, so let's dive into this thing. It's super easy. First of all, I just want you guys to be very clear. It's very easy to do. We pull this off. You'll see this little light is red here, and you'll see that immediately when you take it off of this charger, it'll start registering right here. Now I can go into my menu system and see how that turns yellow, so I can select this menu and I can go into that and I can adjust all of these settings in here. So you can update your firmware from here. You've got a gain, you've got a high pass filter, you've got a noise reduction filter. You can mute one if you don't want to have it on, and if you're doing an interview or something, you want to shut it off for one person. So we're going to go connecting by the dock, which is this, and then we can go into the unpair. So I do not want to unpair. No, I don't want to. So this is the pairing. So if somehow or another the microphone gets disconnected from the dock, that's where you would pair it. Or if you're replacing one of these, you could do it that way. So you can see there's lots of different options in here. Let's get out of that by pushing this button here. And we're going to go back out to the main menu. In here we can go into line 1 and line 2, which is how I have these set up right now. So this is basically saying I want this one to be on the right channel and I want this one to be on the left channel. So if I take both of these off, you'll see that they both work. We've got the red one here and the blue one here. There's the red line right there and there's the blue one right there. So we can adjust these separately. So let's go into here, and right now I've got the left channel set to mic 1. I've got the right channel set to mic 2. So basically when you're editing, you have this one hooked up to somebody, you have this one hooked up to somebody else. When you're editing your audio, you're going to be able to really control the levels on these. And if you don't get your levels just right when you're setting this thing up, then it's easy to go in and change the individual ones because it's not recording stereo on both mics. You can set it up to do that if you want to. So if we go in here and we go down, let's go mic. So we could have left go to mic 1 and mic 2 if we wanted to, or we could have mic 1 and 2. So you have your options here. So we could have none, which would mean that this would not actually show up at all. We could have it mic 1 or mic 2 or mic 1 and 2. So you could get a stereo with this and this, so it's all going to mix down into one channel. So I didn't do it that way because I really think that being able to control my audio the very best that I can before I start shooting is going to be the best way to do this. So I'm going to go here to mic 1, and then we'll change this to mic 2, and we'll go back out. So we've got 1 and 2. So when I go in and I'm editing, you'll see that this will be one channel, this will be another channel, and it'll be really easy to edit. So let's scroll to the next thing, which is the headphones. Let's go into those, and this is just the volume up and volume down, so I can turn that up and down. That is basically going to be a personal preference, or whatever headphones you're using, you can set those up however you want to. Back out of that, and we go in here to the little wrench, and this is going to be the settings. So you can set up all of your stuff in here as far as updating the firmware, the region, the language, all that stuff in here. So once you get this thing set up, you probably won't ever really have to go back into that menu. And then it's just going to be a matter of going in. If you can see this right here, I'm at -5 on my dB right here on my gain. So I'm going to go back into my gain, and I'm going to turn that back to 0. And you can go all the way up to 12 or 6 or 0. So you can get it tuned in pretty close to what you want. Between your camera settings and the settings on this, you can really get these two kind of working the very best that they can, so that you get the best outcome when you're finished with your project. Okay, and then we're going to go here to the high pass filter. You just turn that on and off. Noise reduction on. Actually, I have found that it sounds a little bit better when you have your noise reduction on and you're using that. So it kind of depends on the situation. I use these in here in a really controlled situation, so it may not always sound that way the best. So you can go in and turn that on and off and see if it makes a difference. Muting, like we talked about, and then connection, all of that fun stuff, all is available right there. So now we can see clearly what's going on with both of these mics. The blue one here is set at 0 as far as your gain, and the red one is set at 0. So we're kind of at a really good starting point right here. So if I want to go in and check and see if my noise reduction is on this one, and it is, which is good, you just go in, you can simply do that. So after you've used this thing once or twice, if you set this up with 2 people talking to each other and you needed to jump in and switch your gain or do something like that, it might only take 5 seconds for you to go in and tune these things up so that they're ready to go. And it just saves you a bunch of time when you're editing. So it doesn't matter which ones these go back on. They have the little charging pins down here. You can see those. And those just clip right into this. So when you set that down, that's automatically charging. And you can see immediately it knows to turn those off, and it shuts them down and it starts to charge them. So it's super basic. It works really well. I can't really think of anything else I might have missed. So let's go ahead and do a quick sound test. But I do want to show you how comparable they are. This is a very high-end Sony lavalier TX RX system that I bought several years ago. Again, they're very expensive. This is a UTX-B2 is the model of this. It's a UHF signal, and this is the transmitter, obviously. And then this microphone that I have attached to this is actually like I think it was maybe $160. Yeah, it was $160-ish. B&H. Thank you, B&H. I just wanted to kind of give you guys a baseline of what this one sounds like versus this one. So let's try this one. Okay, so we're back. But now I'm using the PicoGear, and you could tell the difference between this one and the Sony. So this is the PicoGear set to 0. The gains are set to 0, and the noise reduction is on. But I also have noise reduction in my Sony as well that's automatically on, and it kind of does that by itself. Should be a really fair comparison. So let's just go ahead and go back and forth for a second so you can tell. This is the PicoGear Dual Lavalier system. I'm using one microphone on my jacket, and that is what you're hearing right now. This is a very high-end Sony lavalier. I just wanted to kind of give you guys a baseline of what this one sounds like versus this one. So let's try this one. This is the PicoGear Dual Lavalier system. I'm using one microphone on my jacket, and that is what you're hearing right now. This is a very high-end Sony lavalier. I just wanted to kind of give you guys a baseline of what this one sounds like versus this one. I did have to change on the settings in my camera, so I did change it. So we put the gain back up to 12 for these microphones, just so that they could be more even. It seemed like the picos were coming in a little bit hotter, so it was making me peak a little bit. Yeah, it's been 7 years or so that I've been using this thing and putting it on people and letting them sit down and rip my cord out. It's really been through a lot. I'm impressed with how well it's held up, and it's actually working really well. These ones, I expect, are going to do the same thing for me. I'm really impressed with the way that they are. I'm really impressed with this design. I think that they did such a good job putting it together. It's very thin. The buttons, it doesn't need to be a touch screen because the menus are so simple and so easy to get to. I just don't feel like you need to go to that extra effort because it is so simple. I would recommend these to anybody, hands down. This is the coolest setup that I've found in a long time. It goes in this case. So this is my whole lavalier system with 2 lavs. I've got a couple other videos that I actually did comparisons with this to the Rode Wireless Go, I think it was. We did a shakedown of this one and a shotgun microphone. And I have to say, I'm just thoroughly impressed. I really, really am. So I appreciate you guys watching. I hope this video was helpful in some way. And if you guys have questions, please ask. Don't forget to subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and hit that thumbs up if you feel like it. And you'll see me in the next video.